public defender. The public defender is a public servant employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until they are proved guilty by law. Now, the case you're going to see is a most unusual one. I had to defend a man already in prison for another crime. The name of that man was Joel Dickinson, who longed for peace but whose life had been interwoven with violence. It started in a cleverly planned prison break in which Dickinson seemed to be the ringleader. Among other convicts involved was Woody Romer, a lifer. It was a desperate cry for freedom by desperate men. For Joel Dickinson, it seemed the end of his dream of eventual freedom. A short time after the story of the attempted break hit the headlines, Dickinson's wife was in my office. Well, let's face it, Mrs. Dickinson, your husband was involved in a prison break.
Joe wouldn't have done it without a good reason.
Perhaps he had a good reason.
What do you mean?
Well, wanting to get out is reason enough. Now, the papers say that your husband was the ringleader.
I'll never believe that. Something's happening up there. Why would a man whose parole has been approved and has less than 30 days to serve want to break out?
Yes, Mrs. Dickinson. Why would he?
I don't know that. But I do know that my husband isn't the same man he was when he went in. He's changed, Mr. Matthews. We've worked and dreamed these past 2 years of the day of his release so we can be together and live like human beings.
Mrs. Dickinson, why did you come to see me?
Because you're the public defender. And because you tried to help Joe when he was first in trouble.
Yes, and I lost that case. As I remember, your husband wasn't very cooperative.
Joe was guilty of robbery. And he's been serving his term for 2 years. I didn't know that being sent to prison also meant that a man was expelled from the human race.
It doesn't.
And who's going to help my husband if you don't? If this is the wrong office, tell me where I can go to save a man's life.
I guess you've come to the right office after all, Mrs. Dickinson. Won't you sit down, please? Hello, Joe.
Sort of surprised to see you here, Matthews. Last time I saw you, you claimed I wouldn't play ball.
I'll give you another chance. Why did you try to break out?
Why does any guy ever try to break out?
Your wife tells me that you were up for parole. Another 30 days and you could have walked out the gate a free man.
In here, 30 days can seem like forever.
Why don't you tell me the real reason? Even in a jailbreak, there can be extenuating circumstances.
Such as?
Well, for one thing, intimidation.
Who gave you that idea?
Why, no one.
Well, forget it. Nobody made me do anything I didn't want to do. That clear?
To me, maybe. But not to your wife.
What's Ruth got to do with this?
She thinks that you're innocent of wanting to break out. That you must have had a good reason for doing what you did. Have you?
Any more questions you want to go without answers?
Joel, wherever there's a question, there's also an answer. Sometimes it takes a little while to get the two together. When you're ready to play ball, let me know.
away from me, Woody. I don't want any part of you.
How times have changed. Just thought I'd tell you everything's gonna be okay.
Sure. Nothing like a jailbreak to make your record look good.
Who cares about records? We're not gonna be around long enough to read them.
What are you talking about?
I didn't spend 20 years building up an organization just to have a bunch of squares sit on the outside and read about me in prison. Next time, there'll be a little more planning, that's all.
Next time, count me out.
You seem to forget you're indispensable to me.
You won't let me forget. If it wasn't for you, I'd have been out of here in 3 weeks.
Are you crazy, man? You don't go out till I go out. I'm in for life, and I got a breakout. We're going out together.
Break it up.
It's okay, guard. We're playing a little game. It's called, Who Wants to Be a Hero?
Move on, Woody.
Dickinson, I got a letter the other day. It said your wife's fine. Up till now. Just thought you'd like to know. Who do I look like?
How did you get in here? But why?
Don't you know? No, I don't believe you do. So we'll let that little matter be settled by Woody Romer and your husband. You went to see the public defender today. Why?
He's going to try to help Joel on that prison break charge. Why not?
Woody just doesn't want to have an ambitious lawyer becoming too interested in Joel's actions in prison. Do I make myself clear? Remember, in prison, life is cheap. Good night, my dear.
Mr. Matthews, come in.
Good evening. My name's Matthews.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Matthews.
Agreeable, but not very polite. Who is he?
I never laid eyes on him before. He was sitting there when I came home.
What did he want?
I don't know, he talked in circles. One thing he made clear. He said, Woody Romer doesn't want you to interfere in Joel's case.
Oh, really? Well, they're going to be disappointed because I've already seen your husband.
Did you find out anything that'll help Joel?
No, but I did find out that Joel doesn't intend to help himself.
Oh, no.
No, the only thing I got out of our conference was the feeling that your husband had a very strong reason for doing what he did.
If you mean he wanted to come home badly, I can tell you that he did. Just as I want him to come home. More than I want to live.
And we must try to find out why Joel tried to break out. Are you certain you don't have any reason?
Oh, if I had, why, I'd tell you. Please believe me.
And you're sure you can't identify the man who was here tonight?
Oh, no, I wish I could. I've never seen him before.
I see. Well, I'm going to try to find out who your unwelcome caller was. Good night, Mrs. Dickinson.
Good night.
Had it not been for the man I almost met at Ruth Dickinson's, there would have been nowhere to turn. I went to the one place where I hoped to find out who he was. It was the first break in Joel Dickinson's favor. The name was Al Romer, alias Clark Morgan. He was the brother of the notorious Woody Romer, the man with whom Joel Dickinson had become involved in the robbery and later the prison break.